So I want to tell you about a client that I worked with. Now, she was a founder. She was really good at what she did. She had had a couple of successful launches. She had a business coach. She had a dedicated, loyal following of clients. They really loved her. And she kept showing up, right? She was going live on Facebook. She was doing everything that she needed to do. But she wanted more. Okay, she wanted to get on stages. She wanted to reach a bigger audience. She wanted to raise her prices. She could visualize exactly where she wanted to go, but she didn't know how to get there. And so every time she got close to actually going for it, something would stop her. That inner critic inside would say, who am I to want that? Or why would anyone listen to me? Now, she reached out to work with me. So we did a session together where we went looking for the root cause of where this came from, right? Where that voice actually came from. And what came up was this memory of being a little girl, bright and loud and plenty to say, that kind of child that's just always really cheerful, loves to speak. But she had been told more than once that she was too much. She'd been told off for being too loud, for showing off. And so she learned the way that children do, that she learned to make herself smaller so that she didn't get in trouble. She pulled back, she turned her volume down. But then she grew up, she built a business, and she couldn't figure out why she kept talking herself out of being more visible, about going on stages. Now, during her session, she was crying, and I remember she said something like she realized that the voice telling her, who are you to want this, wasn't hers. It had never been hers. It was just an instruction that she had been given when she was small. And when you're small, you're too young to question it, right? You don't have that analytical capability. And she was born with the potential to do anything she wanted. We all are. That hadn't changed, but she had forgotten that. And last year, she got on a stage for the first time, right? She messaged me when it happened, and she's doing it again this year as well. And the reason I'm telling you this is that she is not unusual, right? In all my years of working with founders, this is the thing I see most consistently, right? People who are genuinely capable, they're ready, they're just held back, not by their strategy or their skills, but by that belief that got installed so long ago that they think it's just who they are. And there's also neuroscience to back this up. So it has been shown that our core beliefs get embedded in our subconscious before the age of 7 years old. And the reason that window matters is that up until around the age of 7 years old, the brain is literally in a hypnotic absorbent state, right? A theta brainwave state. It can't critically evaluate what it's being told. So when a little girl is told that she's too much, she doesn't think, is that accurate? She just takes it in as truth, and it sits there inside, shaping everything for decades. Now, there's also been brain scan research showing that we operate consciously for only about 5% of our day. All right, the other 95%, we're running on autopilot, on those old programs, which means that most of the time when you're holding yourself back, you're not even actually aware that you're doing it. It just feels like normal, like reality to you. Now, imposter syndrome, playing small, comparing yourself to everyone else, right? They're not even really mindset problems in the way that people mean when they say mindset. They're old instructions running quietly in the background, and they're costing your business in ways that no strategy is going to fix. Here's what I see with so many of my clients. Someone tries a new marketing approach and it doesn't work, so they think they need a better one. They go and get another coach. They try a different launch method, and they're genuinely confused because they're doing everything right on paper, but they're not progressing. But if the person executing the strategy fundamentally doesn't believe that she's allowed to be seen, if some part of her is still that little girl making herself smaller so she doesn't get told off, then the strategy was never the problem. Now, when we've been criticized or labeled in childhood, our brain's filtering system gets set up to prioritize avoiding that shame over actually going after what we want. So it's not that your brain is being irrational when it talks you out of the stage or the price increase. It's doing exactly what it was trained to do. It's protecting you from the thing that it learned a long time ago, that it was dangerous. It was dangerous to be loud, to be visible. Now, the problem is that it learned that lesson when you were 7. And you're running a business now. So what do you actually do with this? Now, first thing, and I know this sounds almost a bit too simple, is actually to get genuinely curious about the voice. All right, don't argue with it. Don't try and think positively out of it. Just get curious about it. And when you catch yourself going, who am I to do this? Or I'm not ready yet, or people will think I'm showing off, ask where that came from. All right, whose voice is that actually? Because a lot of the time when you really look at it, it's not your voice. It never was. The second thing is to separate the label from the truth. So my client had been carrying the label that she was too much her whole life. And when we looked at it together, when she could actually see it as something that had been put on her from other people rather than something that was true, it lost its grip. You know, she didn't have to become a different person. She just had to stop letting someone else's old opinion run her business. And the third thing is that this kind of work needs real support to shift. It needs someone who works at this level, because it doesn't move from reading about it or watching videos about it. All right, it moves in the deep subconscious work, in a conversation with the right questions when you're ready to look at it. Now, the good news is that the brain is genuinely changeable. Neuroplasticity shows that the brain's ability to form new pathways can happen at any age. All right, the old program isn't permanent. It's just been running for a really long time, but it can be changed. So if any of this has resonated with you, right, if you heard that story and something in you went, oh, that's me, right, I would genuinely love to talk to you. I work with a small number of founders one-to-one. There's a link below where you can find out more. So just come and have a conversation. And if you want to go deeper on the neuroscience side, you know, why the brain holds on to these old patterns even when you consciously want something different and what you can actually do about it, then watch my next video.